Great, so we can now get started. From here starts the speaking test. This is the speaking mock test of the International English Language Testing System taking place in Ross IELTS Academy. The candidate is Mohammad Mahdi Bahirai, candidate number 01432551. The examiner is Mehrnoush Hafi, examiner number 443533. Good afternoon, my name is Mehrnoush Hafi. Would you please tell me your full name?
Yeah, my name is Mohammad Mahdi Bahiri.
What can I call you?
You can just address me Mohammad.
Mohammad, sure. Can I see your identification, please?
Yeah, of course. Here you are.
Thank you very much. Great.
Thanks so much.
So we can now get started with the first part of the exam. In the first part, I will ask you some personal questions. First, I'd like to ask about your hometown. What can a visitor do in your hometown?
Well, there are thousands of things that a visitor can do in my hometown. As I live in a historical town, the visitor can go sightseeing. There are so many places that a visitor can enjoy taking his time there and spending his time there.
And what are the common occupations of people there?
Well, I guess the main occupation of our city is making some, how can I say it, traditional stuff, and our city is famous for historical materials and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Is it a good place for a child growing up there?
Well, yeah, I guess it's natural and good place for a child to spend his childhood there, and yeah, it's a good place.
Now let's move on to talk about concentration. What activities help you to concentrate?
Well, there are a few things that really help me to focus on and concentrate on different things, and especially studying. The first thing is probably drinking a bottle of water and trying to relax. I try to take a chill pill before getting started. And yeah.
And do you think having a routine helps you to concentrate better?
Yeah. It's one of those most effective and efficient ways that someone can take into practice and can put into practice to help and improve their concentration.
Is it easy or difficult for you to concentrate?
It's rather medium, somewhere between difficult and easy.
Okay, thank you very much. Now let's talk about fashion. Is fashion important to you?
Not really much. Actually, I have never thought about it. It's a tricky question for me. But sometimes I really care about it. For example, when I want to hang out with a special friend, I really care about how I'm going to look like.
And do you think it's important to be updating your clothes and hair as fashion trends change?
Well, yeah, it's important, but I really don't think about it that much. I mean, I try to spend a little bit of my time about it.
And what kinds of clothes do you like wearing?
Well, I try to look fine in public, so it doesn't really matter for me what kind of clothes I'm going to wear.
Okay, thank you very much. Now we can move on to the second part of the exam. So, in the second part, Mohammad, I'm going to give you a topic and you should talk about it for 2 minutes. Before you do that, you have 1 minute to think about what you're going to say, and you can make some notes to help you if you wish. Do you understand?
Yeah, of course.
Perfect. So now I'm giving you a paper, your cue card, and a pencil to make notes. So here you go.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. You should describe an occasion when you were standing in a line or a queue. Now you have 1 minute to think about it, and I'll let you know once your 1 minute is over. So you can start thinking now. Okay, now your 1 minute is over, and you may talk about this topic for 2 minutes, but do not worry if I stop you. So your 2 minutes start now.
Well, a few years ago, there was a toy that everyone wanted to have, and at that time, I had a really strong tendency to buy this toy, and one day, me and one of my friends, and I made a decision to go and purchase this product. So we went to the downtown, and there was this long queue, and we stayed in it. We get there and stayed in it. But the problem was it was just so long, and everyone wanted to buy the toy. And I told my friend, hey man, it's gonna take a lot time to stay there. But he said, please be consistent. And yeah, while we were there, we tried to do many things to amuse ourselves. For example, working with my phones, talking to each other, and discussing different topics. And it was a really good time. But when I think about it right now, I think I really wasted my time on that toy because when I purchased it, it wasn't really amusing or entertaining for me because it didn't have any specific or nice features. So I just tried to get rid of it, and I sold it to my cousin. And yeah, it was the entire story. Yeah, just it.
Do you want to add more information?
No, that's just all.
Okay, thank you very much. So we can now move on to the third part of the exam. If you can just hand me the paper and a pen. Thank you. Great. Okay. We've been talking about an occasion that you were standing in a line or a queue, and now I want to ask you some questions related to this topic. Is it very common in your country to have people standing in queues and waiting?
In some occasions, and yeah, of course. For example, if you want to buy some dairy products, groceries, some things we do have every day. Yeah, it's common. It's common, and you need to stay in a queue.
Okay, and how about the technology? Do you think that technology has played an impressive role to reduce waiting time?
Yeah, of course. In the past few decades, it really has helped a lot because we used to stand on queues just for taxi or bus, but we don't need to do that anymore, and we can get a car right now. We can get a taxi by just using our phones.
Okay, and
it's a lot more convenient.
So do you think that it has also been effective when you want to go to banks and supermarkets, or you still need to wait for a long time?
Well, about supermarkets, no, I don't think so, because there are a lot of groceries and supermarkets all over the country, all over the city, that anyone can access easily to these shops and purchase their willing products.
Okay, and how about yourself? How do you feel when someone breaks the line impatiently?
It really walks on my nerves when someone does that, but I try to control myself, and I just get to that person and alarm them, and hey man, you got to be more careful because there are a lot of people standing here just to take one of these. So that's all I would do in this situation.
Okay, and what do you think the reaction of other people would be to that?
Well, I guess they will support me because, I mean, it's a common sense and you need to fight for your rights.
Okay, and do you think customer service helplines make you wait for a long time?
No, I don't think so about that because, I mean, they are much more inconvenient, and it doesn't take much time.
Why do you think so? Can you explain more about that?
Yeah, of course. customer services uses some methods and for reducing the queue. For example, if you want to use some services that the company provides, you need to make an appointment with this company, okay? So, there is no such a thing in this case. There is no such a thing as queue in this method, because you just make a call, you make your appointment, and you'll get there on time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Now this is the end of the speaking test. Now you can just relax and take a breath. And I'll just need a few minutes to add up your score, and then I'll give you the feedback, okay?
Sure.
Perfect. Okay, now let's see what you did. So first, to start with your fluency and coherence, which is the first criteria, because as you might know, there are 4 criteria in IELTS speaking based on which you will be evaluated. And the first one is your fluency and coherence. To talk about this one, I can say that the good thing in your speaking is that you are able to speak at length. Like whatever question you are given, you just provide explanations and examples, and you have the flow of speech, which is really good in your speaking. You had some self-repetition, self-correction, not too many, which is good, and you should always know that you need to avoid hesitations or pauses. You didn't have many pauses because you were able to talk about the topic, but it is always a good idea to just maintain this flow of a speech and being fluent. So generally, I can say that your topic development is good, and I recommend you to cover the 2 minutes in the second part, because this way you can use more vocabulary, more grammatical structures, and you can show the examiner what you actually know in order to get a higher score. But you covered all the bullet points in the second part. Other than that, something else that you should take into account is that in part 1, as you know, you shouldn't just give a very short answer. And you were aware of that. You knew that you should have provided explanations and examples. But the thing is that as you're just trying to stick to what you really think of the question, or what you really think of, like whatever you're asked to talk about, sometimes you run out of ideas. Sometimes you don't know what else to say, and because of that, you give short explanations or you repeat the same idea. So I do recommend you to sometimes fake your answer. For example, in the first part, if you just faked some of your answers, or you just referred to a topic that you are better at, or you have better collocations in, then you could give better ideas, right? Sometimes, to me, it felt like you didn't know what else to say. For example, I asked you 3 questions about concentration, and maybe you find some of these questions so similar, especially it happens a lot in the third part. So fake your answer. You can lie as much as you want, because as long as you give a relevant answer to the question, then you're good to go. So because of all of that, which are very good things so far, you could get a very, very good score. The only problem you had in your fluency and coherence is that you did not use a wide range of connectives and discourse markers. This is necessary if you want to get a high score, because you were mostly using and, so, but, because. You also used the word as, but try to give a wider range to that, because you have the potential to do it. You can use them naturally. For example, although, even though, on one hand, on the other hand, besides, moreover, however, as, since. You can use these words more flexibly. So that's why you got a 6 in your fluency and coherence today. You can easily get a 7, and getting a higher score is a matter of time and practice, but you can do that. Just for now, today, your score is a 6 in your fluency and coherence. Now to talk about the next criteria, which is your lexical resource, your vocabulary. Your vocabulary is actually one of your strongest points, because you were able to use a range of collocations or vocabulary related to the topic. As I was changing the topics, you just use some related to each. For example, go sightseeing, or make a decision. You just said that it walks on my nerve. To get to somebody, a common sense, make a call, make an appointment. So it is very important to use collocations and idiomatic language, and you were using some. Other than that, your paraphrasing was good, because, for example, instead of the word effective you use the word efficient, or purchase or buy, to have a tendency to do something. So always try to use direct synonyms, not only in your own sentences, but also to paraphrase the examiner's question. A simple example would be when I ask you, for example, do you like your hometown? You say, yes, I do love where I live. So try to just paraphrase the words that you can. Just the words that you are 100% sure about their direct synonyms. Because being error-free is very, very much more important than using some words or structures that may be incorrect. So because of all that, you got a 7 in your lexical resource, in your vocabulary. You just need to use more idiomatic language if you can, or more fillers and boosters, because they can help you buy some time, think of the next idea, and then keep talking. For example, you say, that's a very interesting question, let me think about it, and then you just talk about it. Now in your grammatical range and accuracy. In your grammar, which is the next criteria, I can say that you were able to use, first of all, very good tenses correctly. I could hear present perfect, like used to, future tenses, past perfect. This is really good. And other than that, you were using a range of complex structures. For example, conditional sentences or relative clauses, subordinate clauses. But if you use more connectives, you would be able to make more complex grammatical structures. So try to do that, because it can positively impact your fluency and coherence, and also your grammatical range and accuracy at the same time. You just made a few mistakes. For example, you said how I look like, how I look. Or we get there, we got there. Take a lot of time, take a lot of time. Some words were missing. Or it happens to many candidates, the mistake with the tenses in the second part. For example, you should have talked about something in the past when you were standing in a line, but you used present tenses a few times. So be careful with the tenses in the second part and not to miss a word in your sentences. So because of all that, you got another 7 in your grammatical range and accuracy. If you want to get an 8, you don't have a problem with making mistakes. But if you want to get an 8, you need to use more complex structures. And finally, in your pronunciation, you got another 7, because first of all, your pronunciation and how you speak English is clear to understand. Sometimes you need to slow down, because if you slow down, you can refer to more ideas, because you have so much on your mind and you want to talk about all of that, and because of it, you make mistakes. You have self-repetition sometimes. Just slow down and try to give a better intonation to your speaking if you can, right? Instead of repeating some words or just going back to what you had already mentioned. You had one mispronunciation, which was the word traditional. It's not traditional, traditional. And you can still work more on your intonation, like your word stress, your sentence stress, but generally you didn't have many mispronunciations, and you were good in this criteria as well. So just to wrap up, you got a 6 in your fluency and coherence, a 7 in your vocabulary, your lexical resource, another 7 in your grammatical range and accuracy, and another 7 in your pronunciation, which would bring you an overall band score 7. Now, if you have any questions or doubts, then you can ask me.
Well, thank you so much. I don't have any doubts right now. I'm just a little bit stressed out. Thank you so much.
But you just need to be natural, because you have a very good command of English. You have the potential to even get a better score. You just need to focus on your weak points.
Yeah.
Okay then.
Yeah,
so if you have no questions, then I wish you best of luck.
Thank you so much. It was fantastic, and have a lovely day.
Thank you.
See ya.
Do you want to know what band score you'll get in the IELTS speaking test? Perhaps you want to improve your performance and prepare yourself for the real test? Then why not book an online mock test with us that will last for 25 minutes. 12 minutes of the test itself and 13 minutes of comprehensive feedback, plus we'll give you useful tips on how to make your performance better. Remember, all our examiners are especially trained by British Council instructors, so we know how to help you. Join us.